It's Friday. We made it to the weekend. All right. Let's get this party started. So, for most people, Friday is payday. Uh, I get a paycheck on Friday, like many and most of America. Friday is the most common payday there is. It's the end of the work week. So, let's talk about money. Um, I don't know, guys. Growing up poor, uh, the one thing I knew was that working the day of my funeral was something I was planning on doing. And I know many, many, many people like that. Um, I don't know anybody that I went to school with. I didn't grow up in an area where there was rich kids or, there was kids better off than we were, but there was no rich kids. I grew up dirt poor. I mean, the ghettos said, "Look how much better we are than that place over there." I grew up in the worst, poorest neighborhood there was growing up. It was a dirt lot that they built a trailer park on, and there was no. The roads were all dirt roads. Um, there was there was nothing. Um, we we never had anything growing up, man. I mean, mom would turn the oven on. I remember mom would turn the oven on for 10 minutes in the morning in the winter. We would huddle around that oven, and then we would get warm enough that our fingers would, move, and we would get ready for school. Mom would turn the oven off, and we would all rush to get ready to go to school. um, so I never thought about retirement. Um, Credit was something that just came and went. I mean, nobody ever taught me about money. I still don't. I still don't fully understand money, but I'm smart enough to have somebody that does understand money working for me. Um, I know that 2 cents is 2 cents, but how money actually operates, I don't fully understand it. I try to understand leverage and buying power and cash flow, and I find it much easier for me to go, okay, hey, how's the money doing today? And when they tell me okay, I know everything's okay. I don't pay my bills. I don't have to worry. I have somebody that I've delegated all my money to, right down to my retirement. He manages my retirement. Now, he does not manage my retirement account. He manages what goes into my retirement account. I have a Edward Jones. I have a Edward Jones account, and then I also have my uh, Vanguard 401ks and that stuff. So when the when I got tied up with Amazon's lending, it was a great thing in my eyes. If you ask the guy that manages my money, the biggest mistake I made was taking the first Amazon loan. the shysters in the neighborhood I grew up in, the guys that did the loan sharking, had better rates and terms than Amazon lending did when Amazon lending started. 18%, 19% was not unheard of in Amazon lending. And their terms are so short that your first repayments are all interest. So you never really dig into the principal. I mean, it's tough to get into the principal of these loans. Now, I didn't understand that. Here's what I understood. If I made a few payments on a loan, they offered me a bigger loan I could take, and I could keep building from there. I didn't understand what it was costing me. I didn't understand any of that. I didn't understand what reality truly was. Have you used hard money lenders? I have no idea what a hard money lender is. So I borrowed my way into the biggest loan I took with Amazon was $448,000 for 12 months at 16.99% interest. Those loans are almost impossible. Anybody that has one will tell you it is a freaking hamster wheel like you've never been on before in your life. You never seem to get off. You get to about 4 months and you're out of money, and they offer you another loan to refinance. Part of the problem with Amazon lending is when you refinance and they know they got you over a barrel, their interest rate goes up, and they always make you borrow more money than you owe them. It wasn't until I got in over my head that I found this guy named Dave Ramsey. And I'm not a huge Dave Ramsey fan. As many of you may know, I'm not a huge fan of Dave Ramsey. He left me feeling broke when I worked his system. But there is a point in time where you have to take responsibility, own the mistakes. Lori and I did not go to rice and beans. We didn't go that bad. My wife has a good income too. At the time, she had a really good income. Now she has a pension, a retirement pension. And you really either have to understand your finances, or you have to hire somebody that can operate your finances. You have to do one of the two things when you get into that kind of situation. I was lucky. I tried to understand it. I couldn't. I divided personal from business. That has always been something I've done. I'm very fortunate about that part of it. The business checking has been the business checking. I never take money out of the business checking for personal bills. I do pay myself every Friday. So I used Dave Ramsey personally to get out of the debt personally. I didn't fully understand what I was doing, but I kind of followed his methodology of spending less than was coming in and using the extra to pay off my bills. I paid down my personal debt, and I felt that I needed to do the same thing in my business, but I didn't understand the business finance. And I'm telling you right now, guys, if you don't understand business finance, I'm telling you right now, you have to understand the money in your business and how money works. Money has its own set of rules. So I hired the accounting firm that I have now, and we went on a very strict plan to pay off the $448,000 loan. We knew that we would not be able to pay it off in the term that they gave us. We knew we would have to continue borrowing, but we would drive that 448 down to, I think the next one was 440 to 420 to 380 to 360 to. I am very proud to say I turned 55 in less than 2 weeks. I will also owe Amazon less than $100,000. I am in a much better financial position because of the accounting firm that I hired. Everybody thinks I'm nuts. I don't know when my credit card bills are due. They pay my credit card bills. I went from never having money in the checking account in the business to having money in the checking account with all my bills paid, and my credit cards are paid early so that I get the cash back. I use American Express. Mainly my credit cards are American Express. I have 6 or 7 American Express cards. I get the cash back from the Plum cards because we pay the bill early. Don't ask me how early, because I don't know. I don't know any of that. All I know is I went from paying a lot of interest on credit cards and loans to paying almost no interest, and that the cash back that I have from my credit cards covers the interest that I'm paying on the Amazon loan. We did refinance the loan in October, and we didn't need to, but I made the decision to refinance it and take the cash from the refinance and put it in a savings account. I was not sure what would happen if Biden won. I'm sorry. I am a Republican, and I was afraid that a total lockdown and a disruption of my systems was going to happen again. And I was not prepared to go into that with no cash. So that's what I did. I took the cash and I set it aside, and I still have that cash set aside as a safety net. It cost me interest money, but I felt that the insurance that it gave me, the security that it gave me, was worth it. Otherwise, I'd be almost paid off right now. I'd have like 2 payments left. Instead, I have about 5 payments left. I do know where to find all this information, guys. The one thing is I'm not stupid when it comes to the money. I know where every dollar is. I know how to see where every penny of my money is, where it comes from, and where it's going. And I do check up. It's not like I'm totally hands-free of it and don't look at it. I just trust them to operate better than me. There's some things that I'm not the best at. I have to admit that. And if you have a business where you have employees or you deal with a lot of things, you have to have people you trust to make decisions. Money was the first one I had to let go of. That, for me, it was killing me because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was getting in over my head quickly. When I took the $448,000 loan, at the time they had offered me almost $700,000. It would have taken me 5 mouse clicks, and they would have given me all that money. I probably would have been bankrupt because it was too much money, and I don't know that I would have been able to dig my way out. But I used a lot of the things I learned from Dave Ramsey to correct all my problems. I was wasting a lot of money in subscriptions. I mean, the first thing I did was I went in and I put the business on a rice and beans budget. I cut my salary. I went on a hiring freeze. I laid 2 people off that I really didn't need, that were just collecting paychecks. I made adjustments, and it was long, hard struggle. Guys, I've been dealing with trying to pay this loan down for 4 years. I'm finally at a point where I will be able to pay it off this year. But that brings up the next part of the whole thing. When I pay off that loan, it's going to feel like I hit the lottery. My payment is close to $20,000 a month from the business to Amazon. When I no longer have to make that payment, it's going to feel like I hit the frickin' lottery. And I need to trust the same people that got me to that point. I need to trust them when I get to that point. When that windfall of cash starts to flow, I can't get myself jammed up like I did before. It's very easy to do, guys. And it doesn't matter what level you're at. It's not about how much money you have coming in. It's kind of like this big fat belly of mine. It's how much you got coming in and how much you got going out. I take in a lot of calories. I don't put out a lot of calories. So I kind of save all them calories up around my middle. Money, if you have a lot of money coming in and you don't have a lot of money going out, you kind of get a big fat middle. It's the amount going out that's the problem. If you stop the money going out, all of a sudden you start getting more in the middle. But then what do you do with the middle? You don't want to be unhealthy like I am with my big fat belly. So I need to start looking at, how do I invest that money? Honestly, guys, I always said, well, I'll play the stock market. Well, the problem with that is the word play. I'm not in a gamble. I'm not looking to gamble. So if you hear me talking about stocks, it's because it's a gamble for me, and I took a little bit of my casino money and I'm tinkering with stocks. In all honesty, the majority of the money will be put into VTI type index funds. I know. You see, now this is the problem that I'm running into. Dave Ramsey says save 15% of your income. When you have all your bills paid and you really don't have money going out, when you've adjusted your lifestyle to the way Lori and I live now, we live very frugal. We go out. We're going out for Valentine's Day to the steakhouse. It'll probably cost us about $150 for the 2 of us. Other than that, we really don't go out. Lori likes to cook. Lori likes to, we've gotten to where we like to eat at home. I like to use my smoker. So, I can get a bag of pellets for, I don't know, $10. It lasts me a long freaking time. And I can pick up a rack of ribs, and Lori and I have dinner for a day and a half for $8 or something. Nothing like going out. Before the pandemic, we were eating out. There's 21 meals in a week. We ate out probably 15 or 16 times a week. We rarely ate at home. We've made adjustments to our lifestyle so that we were able to pay down this debt. Now that the debt's paid down, we have this money, and 15% is what do you do with the rest of it? So we'll probably save a lot more. That's why you hear me talk about retirement so much. What are some of the things that I did to cut my expenses? Personally, one of the first things we did was we gave up all our excess. We didn't travel as much. Now, this is going back to when Lori was getting ready to retire. We knew Lori was going to retire, and which means we would have less income, and we knew that we had to start getting things straightened out. So we stopped going out on Friday nights to the casino. We stopped traveling. We stopped going away for the weekends, and we usually spent pretty good money when we went away. When you go away, you eat every meal out, and I kind of like good food, the better restaurants. So what were some of the things we did? We cut out our excessive spending. Now, Dave Ramsey says you got to use the snowball effect. What Lori and I did was a little different than what Dave Ramsey suggests. Now, the business is totally different. I'm talking about personal right now, and I will get to what I saved in the business, how I saved money in the business to get to the point that I am now. We did do kind of a snowball, but it was different. Lori and I were getting a lot of 0% interest credit cards, and Bank of America gave us one that was $18,000, 0% for 18 months. Well, we figured that if we took the $18,000 at 0%, now there's a transfer fee. You have to understand there's a cost of this, the 3% cost. If we took the $18,000 and paid off as much as we could with that $18,000, that over the next 18 months, if we paid $1,000 a month, all of that debt would be wiped out at 0%. Now, we always made sure, instead of paying 18 months, what we actually paid was 16 months. We took the 18,000 divided by 16 months, and that's what we made our payments, so that we were always 2 months ahead of the 0% interest. Now, every time we got a 0% interest card, we would look at the offer, we would look at the debt we still had, and we would figure out if we could make that 0% payment and take all this other debt and pay it off in that whatever term they gave us. We did that numerous times, guys. We did it with a car loan. We paid off a car loan with a credit card 0% loan, and we made big payments to pay off that car. And we didn't have a car payment we didn't have a car payment after that. We haven't had a car payment. The Lincoln is now paid by the company. I don't have a car payment on the Lincoln, and we put a lot of money down on the Lincoln, so the car payment on the Lincoln is very little. but we just kept using the 0%. And we struggled. Sometimes we would go out to dinner and we would, instead of going out for steak, which is something I really enjoy doing, is going out to a really good steakhouse for a steak. We would go to McDonald's for a cheeseburger and fries. We did cut back, way back on our spending. Again, it's what you bring in to what goes out. So we cut out what we were putting out for personal enjoyment. What was going out was paying down all the money we had used earlier. That was the first thing we did. Now, right about the time Lori's about to retire, and we were getting to a point where the business needed to go on the same type of strict planning. One of the first things I did was I gave back my money that I was being paid by the business. Not all of it, but I'm going to say 40% of what I was being paid, I reduced my paycheck by that amount. Lori and I didn't need the money personally anymore. We didn't have the debt we had to support anymore. We didn't have the hundreds of thousands of dollars we wasted on interest anymore. We basically had the RV was the only payment we had to make. And that was our house at the time. So that was the first thing I did, was I took less money out of the business. The second thing I did was I went in and found every auto payment that I was making. And his number's disgusting, but I'm going to tell it to you because I want you to understand that we waste so much money that we don't even know about. I found over $800 a month in subscription fees for products and services that we no longer used in the business. $800 a month. It was over $10,000 a year in total when I went in and unsubscribed, deleted, canceled all those subscriptions. Made a huge difference. The other thing I did was I looked at my inventory. How was I buying stuff? How was I, how fast was the sell through? Was I really doing the best I could with my money? The other thing I did was I buckled down and I went to work. Sorry, I feel like a sneeze is coming on, guys. The other thing I did was I went to work. At the time, I was only doing wholesale. I was not doing RA. And as you know, RA, if you find the right products with RA, you can flip a lot of cash in a very short period of time. And that's what I did. I went to work and I found some RA products that I could clear the shelves and just keep hammering away. When that money came in, I didn't get $1 of it. All the profit went to pay down debt. The other thing I did was I looked at my labor cost. I was going to need to hire somebody at the time. But I had been at ASD here in Vegas, and I seen a semi-automatic shrink wrap machine. And I sat down with my accountant and my brother who runs the warehouse and said, listen, if we buy this thing, it's $8,500 cash, delivered and set up. If I buy this thing, how much labor can we save? Can we not hire a person that's going to cost us 24 grand over the next year, or 30 grand over the next year, depending on how much they made and if it was full-time or part-time? It actually saved me more than one full-time employee in labor cost. Um, I was able to do more with the same amount of people I had employed by buying this one machine. It was a big expense, but we did it. And now looking back, I've had that machine 3 years. Cost me $8,500 to buy the machine. We've had to repair it one time. It cost us $800 in parts. My brother did the labor himself through a board, a computer board. It was 2 wires to unplug and 4 screws, and the company actually walked him through installing this piece himself. 3 years, we have saved probably $70,000 in labor cost. These were the kind of streamlining things I did within my business. Instead of having 30 days supply, I got the vendors to ship directly to Amazon for me. And instead of 30 days, I was able to order every 15 days. I set it up on 30-day terms with my vendors. Now, listen, this didn't happen overnight. This took a lot of time and a lot of effort on my part. I got 30-day net terms with my vendors because my credit was so good with them of buying and paying for my product that they would give me the product for 30 days before I had to pay for it. So I got it from them for 30 days, and then they would take a credit card from me to make the payment, which gave me another 45 days. So what I had to do was adjust when I bought my product. So I got a full 30 days from my supplier, and that they would charge my credit card the day after the statement closed. So I would get 45 days from the credit card company. So I went from having to pay for my stuff up front to having to pay for it 75 days after I bought it. Well, if you're in reselling, you know that by getting it today and having to pay for it in 75 days, you have a much better chance of selling it for a profit to pay for it in 75 days. Sometimes I could flip that same product 2 times in that 75 days. It made a huge difference on my cash flow. Was it easy? No, it took a lot of work, guys. And I think going forwards, I know I'm over my time. I think going forwards, that Friday, we're going to discuss business finance. I may throw in some of my personal finance in there, but we're going to talk about how do you get to the point that you have these 30-day terms with your vendors. How do you set it up so that you have the full 45 days of the credit card before the payments due? How we were able to turn this all around and actually take full advantage of the income of the company. Like I said, man, in 2019, I paid $44,000 in interest. In 2020, I will pay less than $2,000 in interest. Huge difference. Huge difference, guys. And because of that, I was able to turn around my own finances. Guys, remember, let's talk about tomorrow. There's no show tomorrow on Sunday. I think I'm going to go to a Monday through Friday schedule and take the weekends off. I'm going out in the desert both days with friends of mine, so I'm not going to have time to do a show and then get ready to go out. We're leaving early to catch the sunrise, and I much prefer to do that, and I'm sorry, but I think the show's going to be Monday to Friday, so I'll be back Monday. Guys, remember, God loves you. Lord knows I'm trying. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If not, if you have subscribed, leave me a thumbs up. Hey, listen, if you don't like talking about money, leave me a thumbs down. I hear both of them work